Welcome everyone. This is Kim Stafford. I'm a health program specialist for the Oklahoma Department of Career Tech. This is a presentation that Susie and I put together called Piecing Together the Puzzle, Standards, Assessment, and Crosswalk. The National Consortium of Health Science Education have put together standards that if you teach anything in health that you need to align your curriculum with the health standards. Standards for an educator is like putting a puzzle together with their curriculum. When you have multiple classes or multiple educators and they're all teaching various things, it is very helpful for you and for your students to align your curriculum with all the standards that you are needing to be met to make sure that you're meeting them, and maybe not meeting them, several times throughout the curriculum when you only need to be, one educator needs to be teaching one thing instead of another. So that's why I named it after a puzzle piece, because when I was an educator, it was always sitting down and trying to fit together what I need to teach and who needs to teach what. And everything you'll find in this presentation will be found at that website there. So you feel free to, when you have time, to go through and look at their website. They have a lot of information that is helpful. So please take the time and look at healthscienceconsortium.org. The next slide, I'm going to discuss how these standards came into fruition. So there was a process of how these standards were developed. In 1992, the consortium was awarded a $1.4 million grant by the United States Department of Education to establish national healthcare skills standards. So what happened was 1,000 constituents reviewed the content for each standard, pilot tested it, and then in 1995, the standards were revealed at the National Healthcare Skills Standards at an unveiling in Washington, D.C. And in 2002, the Setting the Bar Summit was held to reevaluate the standards, and they added accountability criteria for each standard. As a result, several of the career pathways were renamed and a fifth pathway was added. So I'm going to go through those and show you the different pathways on the standard. Okay, so what are the results? Through much discussion, the career pathway standards, they're organized by function rather than just job title, and accountability criteria has been added for each area. Currently, there are 5 career pathways. So you can see there's therapeutic services, diagnostic services, health informatics, support services, and biotechnology research and development. So again, they're organized by function and not just job title. So then the criteria, you got human A&P, and you can read through all of those. So as you go through it, again, it's like putting together the puzzle piece. Where does human A&P go in your classes, and communications and systems? So I'm going to show you the crosswalk that we designed that makes putting this puzzle together much easier. So why unify your health science educational standards? Remember, what does a worker need to know and be able to contribute to the delivery of safe and effective health care? So as you're teaching, you want your students to be mindful that that's your overall goal. And the standards represent core expectations that most workers need to succeed in the health career industry. So it's important to follow the standards so you can deliver that safe and effective health care. As educators, you have to ask the question, what do standards provide for us? Standards set clear and measurable goals for us as educators, as well as our students. Standards will inform instruction, and standards help measure achievement of our students. This will help, again, that puzzle piece of putting together the curriculum and making sure it's reaching the standards. Again, there are 5 career pathways and 11 health science standards. So as an educator, you have to ask yourself, what does the National Health Science Standards allow for us? Well, there are 3 main objectives. It provides organization and institution membership. It provides quality and consistent curriculum for us. It provides efficient healthcare delivery. It provides students and parents a clear direction to help set goals for them as a student and as a future employer. Educators are able to design a quality curriculum and instruction consistent with the industry expectations of their area. Consumers and employers benefit from high-quality, efficient healthcare delivery from well-trained workers. Again, if you're teaching in the health science area, the main objective probably for you is when my students leave, I want them to be very competent in what they're doing because it's a direct result of our program. So following these health science standards helps that pathway and putting that puzzle together to provide that efficient healthcare delivery system. If you as a health science educator want to ensure a well-prepared workforce, the National Health Science Assessment is a tool that can be utilized. It's a validated, knowledge-based, end-of-program test. It's designed to evaluate the extent of the candidate's knowledge of the National Health Science Standards. Upon completing or passing of the test, which is a 70%, a student is awarded a certificate of proficiency on the health science standards. This is just one of over 15 content-specific end-of-course health science certificate exams that is offered. The assessment cost, if you're a member state, it's $12 per student. If you're a non-member state, it's $15 per student. This is the blueprint of the assessment, the National Health Science Assessment. You can see that it is broken up into the 11 standards and how much percentage that each one of those standards will be in the format of the test. So their total points are 110 with about 105 questions. Again, 70% is passing, and you can see that as you're going through and building your curriculum, you know, like safety practices is 16% of the test, so you know that that's very important to teach. Academic foundation is 18%, communications 9%. So again, it's just fitting that one more puzzle piece together on if you want your students to take the test at the end, how it is divided up. This is just a portion of the National Health Science Assessment sample questions. There are 32 sample questions on their website, and I encourage you to go out and take a look at them. I just wanted to make sure that you are aware that this is a resource offered to you on the website, and so you can kind of see how the questions are designed. And you know, this just happens to be the multiple choice portion, but it's not just multiple choice. There are drop and drags, there are multiple choice, there are matching, sequencing, ordering. So it really, students are going to have to be able to critically think on the question and to come up with the right answer, of course. So I encourage you to go out there and take it as an educator, and then maybe you have your students take it, and that will give you a good baseline on maybe what they're strong in, what they're weak in, maybe what you need to reteach. So Susie and I last summer took the standards, the health science standards, and created this crosswalk that I'm going to show you on the next slide. It's designed as a working document. It allows you as educators to crosswalk your program's curriculum and align it to the National Health Science Standards. What does this do again? And I know I've mentioned this, and ensures that the educator is teaching all of the National Health Science Standards throughout the student's program. It prepares your students for the National Health Science Assessment if that's what your school chooses to do. What does that do? It better prepares your students for the work in a healthcare setting. Again, your goal is you want to provide that efficient healthcare delivery system because it's a direct result of your program. And this is just one tool that you can use to help you and to guide you. Again, it's fitting that puzzle piece together. It helps you make sure that you're hitting every aspect of all the standards. You can align it with your standards in your direct program along with the National Health Science Standard. so on the next slide, I want to show you what the crosswalk looks like. So here is an example of just one page of the crosswalk that Susie and I created this last summer. So this just happens to be Standard 2 Communications, and this is just one piece of that. And you can see it's 2.1, Concepts of Effective Communication. So as you're teaching communication skills to your students, you can go through and look, it's not just verbal, it's nonverbal, what barriers there are to communications, and so on and so forth. So what the curriculum or the crosswalk provides for you, you can put in what curriculum that you're using, that you're reaching those standards, and what course it came from. You may be teaching a course that is a short-term course, and you're teaching this quickly, and so you're filling this working document in quite often. If I came from Rad Tech where it was a 2-year program, so this was a working document we used with our students for 2 full years. And at the end, if there were any blank spots, we knew as instructors we needed to go back in and teach that somewhere so they received all of the content needed to be able to pass the test at the end of the program. So again, this is just one tool that you can use. It's offered on the website. You can make as many copies as you want to. You can give it to all your instructors. You can send a copy home with your students for the parents to look at, for the students to have, and you can just go through and say, I need to make sure that I understand what this part of this standard wants me to know. And so again, it was just a document we created to help it be easier for educators to follow through and fit those puzzle pieces together. Everything I talked about today and the crosswalk is provided to you on the healthscienceconsortium.org. Again, I encourage you, they have a lot of resources. They have the sample assessment. They have this crosswalk. It will help you as a health science educator, just give you tools to help you in the classroom. Again, the goal for you is to provide your students a efficient healthcare delivery system for them. So if you ever have any questions on this, please reach out to me. I would be glad to answer any questions. Thank you.